Ja, Ben, vielen Dank. Lass noch einen Moment liegen. Oder nimm ihn mit auf deinen Sessel. Thank you for the insights into the non-Facebook ecosystems, and it was really impressive, I think, really a highlight to see what's coming up as a competition to the, let's say, in Germany, dominating messages system. So really, really interesting. And probably we'll have a lot of questions from the audience here. But I start with my first question. We see some strong adoption in the US for the Apple Business Chat. How is it going in Europe? How is it going in Germany compared to the other market?
So we are still in beta, and that means we haven't fully rolled it out yet. So we have probably 1,000 brands across the world on Business Chat at the moment. And in Germany, it's a couple of companies, but only a handful. So we are starting probably next year full force.
Okay. Same question to Google.
So I would say that it's fair to say that similarly, we're probably North American and South American focused. I think what's a little different from our perspective is we have less control, I guess, than an Apple scenario. So we're working with operators, 650 of them or something. So I think that is where we are seeing success, obviously, in RCS business messaging is dependent on the success of RCS. So I think that's more of a driver, if I'm frank, than enterprise adoption.
And concerning this carrier question, how is your prediction for Germany?
Yeah, so very positive. I alluded to it a little earlier. Germany will be up and running by the end of this year. With Deutsche Telekom, Telefonica, and Vodafone technically there, and then each of those carriers have plans to take to market in Q1 next year. So I think from a Germany perspective, RCS business messaging next year is kind of showtime for businesses and brands to kind of get involved.
And as far as I know, Google Business Chat is the customer has to pay for the messages under certain circumstances. Is it the same, Ben, in the Apple ecosystem, or is it for free?
It's we are selling iPhones, so it's a free service, and we just strengthen our ecosystem and want to have the best experience for the user. So neither the user nor the brand is paying anything.
Enrico, and when you mentioned in the slides that there are use cases where you totally for free give away the opportunity to message your customer. Is it always, or how is it the typical use case for the marketer?
Yes, it's always for free. I mean, once that you have gained a new follower for your official account, everything, all the organic communication you can do is for free. Because you have to invest earlier in the quality of the content and in all the activity that will bring users to become followers of your official account. And this is the main area where you have to invest, where a brand have to invest. Also because the number of followers of each WeChat official account is totally different if compared with, for example, Facebook or Twitter audience. The numbers are much lower, but the loyalty that each follower show towards the brand is much higher. So, for example, as we've seen for the Dior case, Dior is sure that all the followers of his official account are extremely interested in that brand and in purchasing products from the brand. And so it's enough to just stimulate them to gain a very good results when you propose such things in this kind of activities.
Okay, and we before talked about the adoption or the spreading out in Europe. You mentioned that you have Germany is at least not on the top of your plans in Europe. Can you explain that?
Yes, well, actually, Tencent, and as a consequence of WeChat, is a B2C company. So we are not developing the B2B market as our first purpose. And in Europe, of course, we are trying to develop more the B2B field, the B2B market, but this is something like, it must be seen as a service that we are doing for our users. So to facilitate European companies to be in touch with the Chinese users in a more proper way. And this is the angle from which you have to see and to see our operations here in Europe. Of course, we have some countries where companies, for example, Italy with the Made in Italy and France with the Made in France, are more willing to invest in a Chinese social network because a great percentage of their markets is now in China. And so it's easier in these two countries to have more clients if compared with Spain and Germany and also UK that are more related to tourism. That is something that we are going to develop for sure in the 2020 and in the next years.
So the tourism locations first, and then the countries that are not that tourism savvy for the Chinese customers.
Yes, but Europe from Chinese people is seen as just one single area. So when they are coming here, they fly to Milan or to Paris or to London, but then they always, if they have time and money, of course, but for the greatest part, they take the occasion to travel across Europe. So for all the activities related to tourism, each country of Europe, it is more or less the same for us. So France, Germany, UK especially, and Spain and Italy. Also, Croatia and Greece are growing a lot in terms of tourism for the Chinese audience. So basically, Europe, if we talk about tourism, is one single country. If we talk about other industries, then we have to split to each country for different peculiarities.
Okay, I understand. Ben, one question about, we saw a lot of stuff I would call customers reaching out to the brand. Can the brand reach out to the customers? Are there outbound cases or only inbound cases? And if, what are the restrictions then?
So usually we ask for users to reach out to the brand first. So there has to be an ongoing relationship. So it's not like a communications channel for spam, but like the user gets in touch, wants to buy something, there's something wrong, there's a request, so the user is reaching out. But at the moment we are in the process to enabling a couple of initiatives. Think about like boarding passes. Usually you do that online, you might do that inside an app, and then you send me the boarding pass to my preferred channel. So send it over email, I want to store it in the app, and now we're adding like business chat to that. Once this is implemented, people might be able to opt into business chat over a website or a mobile website or inside an app. But we want to check out every use case beforehand because we want to make sure the user is always in control and the user is not get spammed. We don't want to have email 2.0.
And when I asked the company something, and how long can they answer to me? How is there a window where they can bomb me with messages? Or
so first of all, we are checking the use case and make sure nobody is bombing someone. Second, iMessage, so which is the app, it stays there forever. So if I reach out to Hilton and Hilton is responding back to me, they can reach out back like in 6 months, but they also can reach out back in 2 years if they want to and ask me, hey, we haven't seen each other for so many years right now. We have a special offer for you, but only if I'm fine with receiving that type of information.
Okay, so at least one, what WhatsApp calls the template message is allowed, and when I cut it off, then it will go away.
Yeah, but there might be use cases for that. If I go back to airlines and you book the travel like 6 months in advance, you want to be notified if it's time.
Yeah.
And so we don't have anything like in place where we say it's only within the next 24 hours.
Totally agree. And the Google messaging, there are some costs. Are there use cases without costs for the companies? Is there a kind of session policy in the whole model? And are there use cases without these sessions? Maybe I mean my doctor or whatever. Could there be use cases where messaging costs the sender nothing?
So from an RCS perspective, the price or the commercials around how messages are sent are essentially owned by the mobile operator. So different operators, similarly to SMS, will have different price points. But I think as we see the potential, the new use cases and the richness that RCS provides, there are going to be new business models that come to the fore that we don't see in SMS. So I think I should be very clear. So pricing sits with the mobile operator. From our view of like what's our position on pricing, I think we very much advocate two models: single message that replicates the existing ecosystem well today, which then triggers a conversation if that's followed up by the brand and the consumer, and whether that's 4 hours or 24 hours, to be honest, it's a question of economics. Those are the two models that we're evangelizing and that we believe in, but ultimately it'll be up to the mobile operators to define what that pricing is.
So if the mobile operator decides to give it away for, let's say, nearly free, wouldn't there be a problem of spam?
So, I mean, potentially. I think as we're seeing, and you alluded to process of onboarding of brands, is not only is there some form of process in brand verification, an entity is also vouching for that brand. So the experiences we were looking at earlier had a kind of what we term a verified by experience. So you could tap on that shield and you'll see verified by Google or verified by Deutsche Telekom or Telefonica. So not only is there a process on checking when that brand or business comes online, there's also brands like our brand at stake or a mobile operator's brand at stake in making sure that isn't spam. So I think those natural incentives should align quite nicely to making sure that it's a lot more clean than I think we've seen, particularly in email in the past.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you much. Thank you very much for the insights into this. I mean, for most of the people here, very new field of messaging. It's probably a very interesting competition coming up for the, let's say, the established European areas. Thank you so much for the insight into the, let's say, Chinese field, which is, I think, in a lot of cases, a very good example for what will happen in our markets, because the deep integration is already happening there, or already happened there. So, yeah, thank you. And I have to do some, before we start into the next coffee break, I want to do some marketing for the last masterclass, because there's not many people who attend to this masterclass. We will have now a coffee break. So the last masterclass is the Guru masterclass. I think very interesting thing, because they show a little bit what is the alternative to the chatbot, the human chatbot or the human network chatbot. But right now we have the coffee break, and before I let you to go into the coffee break, I want to introduce the guys from the telephone companies, from Telecom. And Katja, is she still there from O2? Okay, why? because they are affiliated. Carsten from Telecom is responsible for the RCS, and if anyone has questions concerning the prices, the pricing models of RCS and so on, this guy will gonna help you. And so how long can we make the coffee break? Because we are a little bit late. So, yeah. Yeah. Another message about the Kundenakquise mit Chatbots. Ich gehe wieder auf Deutsch. Kundenakquise mit Chatbot startet jetzt von ChatChamp. Also wer da noch hin will, jetzt. Fällt leider die Kaffeepause aus. Alle anderen gehen in die Kaffeepause, die jetzt auch beginnt. Und was wollte ich noch sagen? Wie lang geht die Kaffeepause? Weil wir ein bisschen spät sind, würde ich sagen, die 16:11 Uhr, die war jetzt 20 Minuten, machen wir so 15 Minuten. Also es geht dann weiter um 16:25 Uhr.